but I actually remember an ad. I vaguely remember an ad in America showing Yugoslavia going like and saying it's breaking up, and I didn't.
That's how it happened.
Yeah. So, and I by that time I knew what was going on, but oh, they're showing a commercial first. God damn it! All right. Well, anyway, so I'm gonna give it a few more seconds of blah blah. There is a delay, but wow, they're really showing a lot of commercials.
YouTube, yeah. Yeah, they love commercials.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a commercial world now. All right. Well, I guess I can say hello. This
Hello.
is Arusha from Push, a Cure fan documentary, and I'm here with my friend and neighbor, Alexander, and we're going to talk Cure, collecting Cure, and growing up in a place that is not America and not the UK. So, Alex, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Alexander Vinogradov. I live in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg. I came here from Serbia. It used to belong to Yugoslavia, so I was actually born in Yugoslavia, but now it's Serbia and some other countries. Um, I work as a baker in the chain of coffee shops in Brooklyn. It's called Hungry Ghost.
Which is so funny.
So good.
So wait. When you got that job, what did the title have anything to do with you getting a job there?
Yeah, no, actually, I used to work in a restaurant here close to where I live. It was called Abracadabra. There's one, I think, close to where you live on Knickerbocker Avenue. Um, and they closed in the meantime, and I lost that job, and I was looking for a job. And a friend who worked in Hungry Ghost, he was like, "Oh, we have opening." I was like, "Hungry Ghost? Oh, sure." And I just went for it. And actually, I stayed there now. It's more than 3 years I'm there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well,
Did you know the meaning behind Hungry Ghost before you
uh,
worked there?
I kind of I did because actually when they got a song, when the Cure got a song, I was just curious what does it mean. But then I understood that maybe it's not necessarily what means for the Cure and what these people, because the people who have this coffee shop, they're from Turkey, and so it kind of goes under their mythology and like what they believe that it represents. So it doesn't necessarily mean the same thing, but it sounds exactly the same.
Yeah. So David says I walked past a hungry ghost went over watching The Cure this summer. So David came over to New York, so he must have passed one of the cafes. So just so when I heard Hungry Ghost, my friends and I used to make fun of it and just be like, we're hungry," because we didn't get what it meant. And then I looked up, which I'm gonna butcher what it means, but it's basically it's in a Buddhist mythology, right?
It's in Buddhist and also Middle Eastern mythology. It's kind of actually really spread with small variations in what it means, but yeah, it comes actually from the Buddhist. Yeah.
Meaning that you don't want to feed the thing that can never be satisfied, right?
Yes, and it's represented in a form of the like wild dog or a wolf. I am not quite sure actually. The place where I work, they use it as a logo, um, um, as like physical representation of what the meaning is. Like everything has some kind of physical form.
Right.
But yes, it is like constantly. constant need for something.
So you're a huge Cure fan and a huge Cure collector, and you work at the Hungry Ghost Cafe.
No,
I
to the
mean,
Hungry Ghost. Yeah.
so before we get into, your Cure collection, why don't we just start from how it all started and where you're from? And because I think that's a fascinating story.
Yes, so I was born in Yugoslavia in 1977. My parents got divorced very early on. I was like just 2 months old. When my father left, he came back at some point. They tried again, but just didn't work for them. And so I actually lived all of my life with my mom. Um, I saw The Cure first time when I was a kid. I remember it was like some program like Good Morning America. You have here the same thing, like,
But
morning program for
good morning,
like
Yugoslavia.
yeah, it was just called Good Morning, I think. Uh, and it was, like news from here and there, what's going on, what's the temperature outside, and all that stuff. And before that, they always had two videos going before the program starts, taken from MTV. And one of the first videos I ever saw was actually The Cure Love Cats. But I was at the time maybe 7 years old or something like that. So to me, since I love cats and always have some, like the one sleeping behind me, uh, uh, I was just curious, it was nice, and but it was strange. These people were wearing makeup, and it's not something like it was, like common thing for me to see as a 7-year-old growing in Yugoslavia, growing
Right.
up. Um, so, and I was too young to actually have formed taste in music or anything like that. It would be just ridiculous to say, "Oh, I love them from since I was 7 years old."
Right, because
It's not.
that would have been in the mid '80s, and I um
Yeah.
I, I actually here let's I pulled out a map because I think understanding where I'm going to point to where
You said, yeah.
Bosnia is now. Let's see if I can get it. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and just a little bit up there is actually, I think, that greenish thing. If I see well, next to Hungary and Croatia and Bosnia, it's actually Serbia, just above your finger. Yeah.
Because I remember I was saying earlier to Alex, I remember hearing, at that point the Berlin Wall was up. So remind me and us. So was Yugoslavia part? Explain
It
the
wasn't.
politics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's in a way far from Russia as a territory. It's in the Balkans, in Eastern Europe. Um, uh, but it had a similar like it was communist country actually after the Second World War, and progressed to socialism. And but always, I remember, even me, when I was 7 years old, I was introduced as a pioneer, Tito's pioneer. Tito was the lifetime ruler of Yugoslavia, who actually put Yugoslavia as Yugoslavia, who joined all these small countries as one. And I remember wearing this little hat with a red star, all the symbols of the communism, they were still there. But in the 80s, when I was growing up, this was kind of becoming different, becoming something else. They were drifting apart from that ideology in politics. And maybe one of the reasons why all broke down at the end, I don't know. Really, it's just people always had this idea of Yugoslavia as a perfect place. I even know when I spoke to my husband who lived in Russia at that time, for them it was very difficult to come to Yugoslavia as a tourist. They had to prove themselves, like they have, like when you're going with a visa, you have to have some, like they will not just give you a visa for visiting. And I was surprised. I always thought, like, because I know how much problem we had to travel anywhere. So for me, it's almost unbelievable that once upon a time, Yugoslavia was this place where it was hard to get to. So it
Yeah.
was a good, yeah. But everything broke at the end of the 80s, actually, beginning of the 90s. It was first Slovenia went its own separate way, and then Serbia and Bosnia and Croatia, and that was really messy with a lot of wars and a lot of stuff going on, including the huge inflation, what enabled us to live normal. I remember going down to the river to cut off the branches from the trees to actually heat the not apartment, just the kitchen where we lived through the winter with my
You
mom.
lived in the kitchen?
Yeah, but it's impossible because winters are very cold, so it was impossible for us to heat the whole apartment. So we would just live in the kitchen, heat this small place where we spend the day and then go sleep in the cold room at the end of the day.
Mm.
We had electricity like 2 hours, then 4 hours was restriction
Oh,
of
wow.
electricity. There was no electricity, then again like that, candles all the time.
Well,
I mean,
so I mean that's like a giant podcast or in and of itself. But you were talking
yeah,
about when you were 7 and you saw this Cure video,
yeah.
and now
Let
you're
me go back
talking
to the
about.
cure.
Well, no.
Yeah,
I'm saying in this austerity, this. I mean, this is what I think is fascinating because for some of us, you know, I some people who, not everybody who grows up in the UK had access to everything, but I know even as an
yeah,
American, having access to the Cure was limited. But then to think about where you were at that
yeah.
time is incredible. So when you were 7 and you saw the Cure video, were things different than at this time when you're talking about?
They were they were much different at that time. Yeah, even I started actually listening to their music, in 1989. I saw the video for Lullaby, and I was sold.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me
there was
interrupt.
no
Let me interrupt for a second. Hey, Lisa and Allison. Lisa asks, "Where do you live now?"
in Brooklyn, in US.
Yeah. So Alex and I actually met up. I think it was during COVID, right?
Yeah, it was during COVID. We were in that park, like
We were
sitting
social distancing
uh,
with Carl. Yeah.
with Carl. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So you see the video when you're very young, but then
Yeah, my mom got me actually that year she got me. I made it ready for you just to show you how it looks like. This integration cassette. This is actual Yugoslavian cassette.
ooh, keep it up
That
to the camera. Yeah.
mhm.
Oh, that's something that collectors might like. It's
Yeah.
purple.
And it didn't have like inlay, it was just simple one, like just information about the songs. And it didn't have two songs, The Last Dance and Homesick, which kind of influenced my listening to the album even to this day. For me, the integration is always without these two songs. Just because I was forced to know it like this for a long, long time. I remember maybe 3 years later in 92, my friend Sasha Idanov, he took me to his friend who had a CD. So he actually recorded for me these two missing songs on like a mixtape. And this is the first time when I actually heard Homesick and Last Dance.
So Homesick and
So
Last Dance were off of your
off
version.
of this release, and actually later I found out that this happened with some other releases, that these were songs that were like not on all of the pressings.
Right.
Um, so yeah, my mom, she got me this cassette, and she got me some small white cassette player, like a boombox, and that's how actually it started for me.
Yeah.
So this is where I started building my even tasting music or whatever it's going to become today. But that was the start.
Yeah, and so
And
then so that's 1989. So
yeah,
what was the atmosphere like? What was it like being a teenager growing up in at that point? Is it Serbia or Yugoslavia?
it's still Yugoslavia, and this is actually the last summer that kind of things were still somehow okay. And I remember this is the only time the Cure actually played in Yugoslavia. They played in Slovenia, which was too far for me to go, and I wouldn't have money to go, to be honest, at that time. So, and this was the opposite side of the country, this close to Italy. This is the only time they actually played in Yugoslavia. Only next time they're gonna play in Yugoslavia, in Serbia, it's gonna be in 2019, 4 years ago, on some
Oh
festival,
yeah.
an Exit
Wow.
Festival. Yeah. Even Boris, actually, his family, they lived in Belgrade. They lived because his family has
Who?
Boris Williams,
Oh, okay.
the drummer from.
Well,
Yeah,
you
the
said
thing
Boris.
Boris, like
It could be
Boris, like
yeah.
I know. Sorry. Uh, when you speak about the Cure, and you're like thinking like, everybody should know when I say Robert, like how they mean who Robert. Who? I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Yeah, Boris Williams, his family, because his mom, I believe, has Serbian roots and even has some connections to the royalty, if I'm not wrong.
Wow.
It's like some big thing, and they were like. Their family was somehow politically engaged, so this is why they were there. They were his father, I believe, was assigned to there, and his sister Mira. It's actually my aunt has the same name Mira, so it's like very, very Serbian name. Yeah, that's like this little trivia about connection with the Cure, the geographic connection with the Cure.
Yeah, I mean
But
it's
I was surprised why they never played, because he had these connections, and even in times when got rough, he could somehow get there. But I just guess it's not only them. Nobody came to play to Serbia. Absolutely no
well,
one
it's
until the.
interesting that 1989 was a year. I guess it must have had to do with album sales and promotion. Oh, hi Barrick, by the way, Pharaoh Cherin, whatever your triple name is. Oliviera Pavlovic says Pozdrav is Zrenjanina.
Oh, that's actually where I'm born. If it's
Oh,
Zrenjanin, I
what is
guess it
it?
is. Could be
Sure.
Zrenjanin with Z beginning. Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I'm born actually in the city, and I lived there shortly, something like in 2009, I believe. Yeah. So hello.
Yes, it's Olivera Pavlovic.
Oliver. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's a very Serbian name.
Yeah, and then Hope Henry and Pharaoh Chinweir. Yeah, Barrick. But 1989, I want to stay on that for a minute because when I was traveling in Europe this fall, I got to visit my Hungarian friends for the first time, who I love so much, and I met them through following The Cure. And one friend of mine, Zhiti, and I, actually it wasn't Zhiti, it was Fuli, we did a long walk and we talked about Budapest and Hungary and
Yeah.
how when The Cure played in 1989, it was like a revolution. And I know you said you didn't get to go to that concert, but it
Yeah.
seems, and then people in Croatia said the same thing, that like The Cure meant something a lot more than just like cool hair and, oh, Robert Smith's cute. So can you talk about that a little bit at the time in that?
Yeah. I mean, I remember I even felt kind of, when you're young and you're a teenager, I felt even special that I liked them, while everyone else was crazy about, I don't know, Kylie Minogue or something. I don't know what was in 1989. I remember I used to tape the poster from the German magazine Bravo on the block of paper that I used on my art class. So I would carry it, and the Cure would be visible, like, and I had Cure written on my sneakers on that part, that goes up front, that Robert always had a big one.
Yeah.
And I have a picture from, I think, 7th grade where I have this, it says Cure on the. So it was pretty special, and I the sound, I still didn't understand the words completely. I was just starting to learn actually English language, so English was, because and that's one of the things, connection with Russia. Second language for Yugoslavia at that time, actually for Serbia, I can speak. I'm not sure about the other parts. Was always Russian. There were no. Only when actually I was in my 4th grade of the primary school, because the schooling system is a bit different, that I was offered to choose a different language, second language, and my mom, because parent decided at that time, she went for English. It was, I remember, English or French or something like that. And I was already learning Hungarian because
oh wow,
I lived in close to Hungary. That part where I was born is close to Hungary, so a lot of people speak Hungarian over there. So it was kind of, I learned for 8 years when I was in primary school. I learned Hungarian.
Incredible! So that's 3 languages already before English, right?
Yeah, no, actually 2. English was my 3rd. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Serbian Croatian. And that's another thing. Language was called Serbian Croatian, or if you are in Croatia, it was called Croatian Serbian. And then they became 2 different languages. We still perfectly understand each other, but politics and everything made it so complicated.
Yeah. So in this, go ahead.
I lost my thread. I always go.
Sorry. I'm gonna give you. So Alex was also in this this magazine, and I'm gonna read a little thing from it. It says,
I got my copy too here.
Oh yeah. So what has given you the biggest thrill as a fan? And then you say, when I lived in Serbia, it was impossible to be a collector. All the record stores had closed because people didn't have enough money to buy bread, let alone records. So again, 89, 90, you're discovering the Cure, but you're living in a place.
Yeah. But unfortunately, simultaneously with discovering the Cure and what I love in music and how I will build up myself to be, because music is a part of who you are, definitely. And simultaneously with that, the situation in the country becomes worse and worse. I mean, all that, living in the kitchen, mom running from work to bank to cash up her check before it loses any meaning, because inflation was so bad. We had bank notes, money that had I don't know how many zeros, like billions of dinars that meant nothing. If you translate it to dollars, it was hardly like $1. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I think I'm not. I sometimes see in the deli stores here in Brooklyn, all the, they always say money from different countries. So I saw a few times this Serbian, actually Yugoslavian money from the 90s. I was like, oh my God, the one with the most zeros, easy to recognize.
Right.
It was really difficult because I remember I had this integration on cassette. I would catch some videos on TV. Finally, I somehow got "Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me" on vinyl. This is the second one I want to show you. This is actually Yugoslavian "Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me" that didn't have Sorry about the sound opening. Um,
And yeah,
didn't have.
I'll just,
Yeah,
while you're opening that, I'll say hello to Cure from the Czech Republic, hello to Tink from LA, and Victoria Thenender. Am I pronouncing your name right? I know that you guys are pals, right?
oh, we are. Yeah. Victoria's great. So this is how Kiss Me in Yugoslavia looked like. It had only white um sleeve inside with lyrics. So there were no additional artwork, and well, because there was no money for, and just in this like plastics.
So there was no
So
money to even produce what the other albums had. Whoever was producing it on that side of the world.
yeah, I mean, mostly they went with commercial stuff, if anything, to get any money from that. The Cure was released only Disintegration. Kiss Me was the first record released in Yugoslavia. Then Disintegration, and when Disintegration was released, they reissued Three Imaginary Boys on a CD only, and Mix It Up will be the last one ever released there officially.
Oh.
So this was very short period where anything was officially released. And then in the 90s, when you actually couldn't buy anything, even if there was a release, you didn't have money for it. I mean, they started selling this kind
Wait.
of
What do you
booklets.
mean? What do you mean you couldn't buy it?
We didn't have money. I mean, even people who had money wouldn't pay for the records, so record industry was just going down and until crashed completely.
Were there even albums and things like that available anywhere?
That's the next step. That's booklets from Poland and Bulgaria,
Ah.
who are just like very poorly done. I mean, these were just massively produced cassettes with nothing, no actual, very often misprinted or with some just basic information, the name of the songs.
Oh, bootlegs from. Okay, so let's rewind for a
Yeah.
second. First of all, David Broom asks which label released distributed those albums from in Yugoslavia.
It was PGP RTB. It was like how would I translate this? So Radio Television Belgrade, and they had their label. There were some independent labels that occur a little bit later in the 90s who were mostly dealing with the domestic bands. And they were really good, but they never did any licensed products like The Cure or any other band. It was just mostly the local bands from Yugoslavia.
And then you said the next step was is what countries were issuing bootlegs?
Mostly Poland and Bulgaria,
Okay.
if I remember well, yeah. But even that I couldn't afford. I mean, we really didn't have money. It was always a struggle, so I will have enough money to have enough to buy a monthly ticket for a train to go to school. That was
Right.
like, the biggest deal. Everything else was just secondary thing if it happens. But, I did grow up with my mom who was full of understanding, and that, so she did what she could when she could. And so, yeah, so for me it was Disintegration, then it was Kiss Me, Standing on the Beach, and
Kiss. Oh, standing on a beach. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and Mix It Up, and Japanese Whispers. I remember I got them at the same moment from Germany.
What about
That's
Head on the Door and The Top? Did that come later for you?
It came later. One of the people I already mentioned, Sasha Idanov, was my friend from that time, who actually introduced me to a lot of other music related to The Cure. We did get to know each other because he was wearing a jacket with The Cure patch on the back, and something I tried to get off from his back, and that's how we met. So and we became good friends, and he introduced me to a lot of music that I still listen to this day.
Yeah,
And he was
sorry, was it, but just thinking again, like, I'm imagining that being a Cure fan, and you kind of mentioned it in this article in Record Collector, and I think a
yeah.
lot of people relate to that anywhere that we are. Like being a Cure fan for a lot of people is like, oh, I'm a weirdo and I have a place, like I have an understanding. But it's, to me, I wonder if, like, how subversive was it? Like, were people, if you could you look weird, or if you like that
Well,
music, were you
you,
considered a
you
communist? I mean, not a communist, but like a capitalist?
Yeah, I mean they were called socialist country, but I mean they were still under the hard influence of communism and that ideology. No, that was another thing. So this was for me. I guess I was understanding that I was gay at the moment, and that was the thing that was like really not acceptable over there. It was just, I think it's still a big issue. I mean, when I came to US and when I saw in New York what gay pride means, and remember last gay pride I saw in Serbia, it's a big difference. It's more like a Stonewall gay pride.
Yeah.
So it's still it's a huge issue, and that I guess that was never, for me, sexuality is sexuality. It doesn't have to be necessarily part of identity with how you represent yourself. I'm not hiding it, but I'm not maybe I don't know, I don't want to come out wrong with this. I just, I don't think that it's the most important thing when I meet people.
Sure.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Um, because personality is so much more complex than that.
Right.
And so, but it was a kind of that you are different and you need to be in a way transparent that you are different, that you like them. And I really love them. And that was another thing that, like, I really like that thing that was making me different from others. I mean, not thing. The Cure and the music and the image that came with it and the whole artwork thing and everything. Just it was very, very familiar to me, and it was different to others, and that was just a plus for me.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was the only person who likes the Cure in the whole country, to be honest, at that time, which will thankfully prove to be wrong. Very soon I met my friend Angela, who now lives in England, and I remember going into a cafe where she worked. The name of the cafe, even remember, was called Luna. I went there, and I heard Cure. For the first time I heard Cure out there somewhere.
What year-ish?
So this will be maybe 93.
Okay.
I believe 93, winter of 93 to 94, if I'm right. I might be wrong with the timing, getting old. But it's I remember that, and I was like, oh my god! I remember I even ordered some coffee or something just to stay there so I can listen to them and see where it's coming from. Who's that other person who is playing it? And it was only her at that time there, so it was clear. And how she looked, she was dressed in black. She was, I mean, like,
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I think that's really interesting because, again, if you think about what was happening in America, and I don't know, David, or if there's any other Brits on right now. In 1992, Wish had come out, so The Cure were actually on the map. Like, we didn't hear them in grocery stores yet, but people, like, for me, it was in the 80s when, in 1984, I got beat up for liking The Cure, but by 1988, 89, everyone's like, oh, gotta see The Cure. So it's really interesting to think about, 92, Wish was maybe their biggest selling album worldwide, or maybe it was Disintegration. You probably know more than I do. But and to think like now you're still in a place where hearing the Cure out in the world and Depeche Mode and whatever
Yeah.
else, let alone Killing Joke Swans. I don't know, punk rock. I bet you had a big punk scene somewhere over there, but
We had, I mean, Angela, the girl I met at that time, is a Cure fan. She was punk when punk was she was a little bit older than me, so she lived some other uh, times that was again so interesting to me to hear how it was, and she actually introduced me to that, so she was also important
yeah,
to my expanding knowledge of music. And I know she introduced me to Stranglers, to Kraftwerk, to stuff like that, and I was like just opening my views through these people, new friends, and I understood that I'm not alone, which was also very encouraging. As much as you want to be special, you don't want to be alone in anything. You need, community. You need to infiltrate yourself with someone and all that. It's easier to gather. So me and Angela, we were two freaks in the place. It was a very small place where I was growing up. I put, the biggest mistake in my life probably. I did eyeing makeup and then went to school and almost got killed and stuff like that.
really. Did you get your ass kicked? Yeah,
Oh yeah, many times.
yeah.
And I'm somebody who just doesn't believe in physical violence or responding physically. So I was always beat up. The one who doesn't react.
So what?
Just
So what
stand there and
happened?
getting beat up.
Is this high school? And then I have a question from one of the viewers. But is this high school now or the equivalent?
This still will be primary school. So we have like 8 years of primary school, then 4 years of high school, and after that goes university or whatever you choose to go.
Okay, so you're still in
So this
primary
will be,
school.
yeah, maybe seventh grade, 8th grade. So the end of that.
And you walk in and just
So I mean, they just when they realized what I did, it was because it was always, I already mentioned I had Cure, like they knew what music I'm into, and they knew that they were wearing makeup, and for them this was, thing that homosexuals do, So
right, yeah, yeah.
it's
That's
the
what we.
country of macho guys who just
Oh, I mean,
would never do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna use a not PC word, so a warning if anyone is gonna get upset. But I definitely, I would go to school in the '80s, and they'd be like, "Hey, you faggot witch dyke, what are you doing?" And I'd be like, Um, I was like, "All right, I'm a faggot witch dyke, I guess. Have a nice day. See you later." But
But
just
I have to say that this did actually impact me I became I'm still socially awkward. I'm not so. This is not the easiest thing for me to do. It's not like I had this guys from Close to Me podcast. They called me on to record with me, and I was like not that comfortable at the beginning. I did get comfortable as I talk to them, and then, when I start talking about the Cure, it gets more comfortable for me.
yeah.
I even forced myself to go. I was part of the kind of alternative theater in the place where I grew up. It's Novi Bečej. It's a very small place. Just to break that,
that nervousness
but
that.
it
Yeah.
stayed with me to this day, I guess.
So here's something that's not related to what we're saying, but Cure says, Alexander, what is your opinion on the reissue of the Cure albums in LP picture version?
Well, that's. I mean, I like them. They're visually always stunning. I mean, Andy Walla does his magic, but if you asked me this a few years ago, I would say no, But now I guess it changed. Technology, everything changed. They sound much better than they would sound if you have picture disc from the 80s or 90s. You will know what I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
It's
They sound better now?
they sound better now. I'm still, if you ask me, all the vinyls should be black and have labeling. That's
Yeah.
my favorite one, just the plain old school one. I love them, and I still love 7 inches, and all that. Uh, I mean, I would rather have new album at this point, but that's not happening. So I'm kind of going along with it, and I'm liking everything what they do. So I would say yes to them now. Yes, I think they're. I mean, since they're done now, not maybe if in the 80s I would say why are you doing it? It sounds bad,
Right.
Enough of the pictures. Give us new
Right.
music.
Well, yeah, so I mean we can get back to the timeline in a minute, but since we're talking about collecting right now, one thing I wanted to ask you is so now two things. One, do you buy like what do you not buy? Because if you're a collector, I'm assuming you try to buy
Yeah.
almost everything. And then two, can you explain what the purpose, the interest to somebody who's not a collector? Why have the Cure that was released in Japan, the Cure that was released in Asia, the Cure that was released in whatever? Because other people are like, "What the hell? You have 18 copies of Kiss Me?
Yeah.
Why?"
Why?
Yeah.
I think that comes with any kind of collecting, that like why you go for, or because when I started collecting it was in I always say 2016, but that something reminds me it wasn't 2000, it was 2017 summer when actually I started collecting. Uh, uh, so my story is very specific. I came here. We had only Cure CDs. I didn't have a even record player or anything. My husband he is a professor of classical music. His instrument is accordion, and he has a
Oh
bunch of
wow.
classical music. But everything was on CDs, all of our collection. And I I started going to the record stores. At that time, it was Rebel on Blicker Street. It was a Blicker Street record that was actually on West 4th Street, and I I kind of, for the first time I saw the releases I could only dream of, because I came from the country where I couldn't get any of this or get some part of it, but it just became interesting to me. And then, unfortunately, the same year, record stores started closing because of the increase of the uh, rent, and unfortunately, Rebel was gone very fast, and Blicker Street Records was gone. And I discovered this small record store on John Street, which is actually between these two streets, um, Record Runner. And I went inside. I asked the guy, "Oh, do you have maybe some 7 inches?" Because everything I saw was albums, and he was like, "Oh, I have something in the back." So he brought this long box of 7 inches, and I lost my mind. I saw stuff that I just couldn't believe that it could be just out there, like for sale, like the Blood 7 inch that was like pressed in 400 copies, or test pressing of Lament that probably doesn't have more than 100 copies. And
How do you? All right. Here's another. Sorry to interrupt. First of all,
cool.
JC Moglia, who's also a big collector, says hi and says
And the friend,
Rebel,
yeah.
Rebel, and Record Runner in New York City. First time there in '86 was so good. But how do you know? What you said just said something has 100. How do you know
No,
that something
on,
only has 100 releases?
honestly, I based my kind of information on, I'll call it maybe differently at the time, because I see that it was Darren Butler's book, The Cure on Record. I got this book, and actually, this is where I found this information first. however, he did change some information in time. Some information that are in book, they are updated a little bit. But all that, yes, exactly, that's the one. But that didn't matter that much. I think the most thing that mattered to me at the moment was that actually I could get things that I thought I could never have. And, like child in the candy store, it just
So this
brain exploded.
you
And I
at
was
this you happened to go into this record store in New York in 2017, and this guy's like, "Oh, here's a giant, dusty old box of 7 inches."
And then I kind of understood that actually, I think Brian Greenspan.
Greenspan, yeah.
Greenspan, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for not pronouncing his second name right. Sorry, Brian. So he worked in a record runner, and there was a signed copy of Wild Mood Swings that he got after having, I don't know, dinner with Robert Smith when they came to have Saturday Night Live or something like that. And it doesn't have to be correct information, but like that atmosphere.
Sure.
In the 90s, so I was like mind blown by all this. It was like coming home.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
I didn't have honestly money. Even I started working at the Abracadabra restaurant, and I was getting some tips, and so I was like, John, that's the guy who owns the record store, Record Runner. Could you keep it for me, and then I can pay off, and then get my and he was very open to it. So my record collection started with stuff like the Blood and like crazy thing. I mean, people some never managed to collect for the ever. This is actually the copy of the Blood. Sorry for the.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
Unique cover that they did, and I mean that was the start for me. And the idea was just to get, if I'm lucky, like one of each 7 or 12, like each single, each album to have on vinyl. We got a record player. But then I guess, like with everything, it just gets out of hand, and then you realize that collecting means much more, and then you try to figure out what collecting means to you personally. I regret a little bit that I didn't focus on one thing, maybe just records. I was just like everything. It was just posters, pins, records, promo pictures. Everything was like. I was like all over the place. Now these days it's a bit different for me. I'm mostly focusing on vinyl. I get here and they're excited about maybe some promo photo or something, but
Ariel Gaston from The Cure Argentina is on, and he says hello, and he says, do you like the Argentinian releases, or what are your thoughts?
Oh, I love them, especially I was so excited when I got the head on the door, because it has different cover. They use the same picture they use for In Between Days as a cover for the head on the door.
Oh, really?
So it's a unique release. Yeah, I love Argentinian, and actually I'm waiting for one. It's Argentinian Japanese Whispers cassette I never had before, so that's on the way, hopefully, if U.S. Post Office doesn't do something with it.
And so where do you look now for things other than new? Like where do you search?
To be honest, my first it was easy because John in his record store, he had so much stuff that I didn't have to go anywhere else for a while.
Yeah.
But when that was done, when I bought everything possible from him, uh, I did turn to eBay, I did turn to Discogs, and hopefully, and now more and more, I have connections, personal connections with people in different countries and Cure fans who also collect. So we do some exchanges. I helped the guy from France recently to get a copy of something that he got me a copy of Happily Ever After a long box, and so it's like Diana from Japan. Uh, we became great friends before anything else, but she helped me so much to get some stuff from there that I probably could never get, just because in collecting there's one also problem. Even if you are on eBay, this eBay is US eBay. You don't have necessarily um, not everything that is sold in England is visible to you or it gets sold to you. So there are still some like limitations to what you can get, and this is where my friends, they're also great, really. Step up,
Yeah.
help you to get something for them, and finally I got to meet a lot of them now when the
I
shows
used
were
to
in.
I used to go to I just used to collect I used to just get wanted to amass a huge record collection of anybody I liked, and I moved to New York with about 1,500 records, and then I just realized that my life was going to take a turn, and I had to just get smaller and smaller and smaller. So I've been slowly selling my record collection, which is unfortunate. But at one point in time, I imagined, you said you have 5,000, or maybe it was in the article that you have about
Yeah,
5,000, and if your husband is a classical music instructor, then you know
yeah,
seems like it'd be
we're in
easier.
trouble.
But what I always wanted to do, and I wonder if any Cure fans out there do this, but especially in America, if I had wheels, I would go to estate sales.
Yeah, I mean, that's another probably handicap for me. I don't drive. Sage stopped driving because he's at the age where he doesn't feel comfortable driving anymore. And I believe but thank God I don't have it. So I don't know where that would end. It's bad enough like this already. So I'm kind of grateful for everything that I could get. I love to share it. That's why I even started this 1015. It used to be by different name, but my old um, account was hacked, so I had to start all over again. But
Well,
the
yeah, let's
concept was
let's let's well, let's pause on that for a second because I was trying to remember. First of all, what are you talking about? What account? Where? And what was the first incarnation of it? Because didn't you have like 10,000 followers or something?
no, I had maybe four 4,500, something like that. But it was still something that I patiently built. I not built. I mean, not that I don't care. I care about everyone who's there. That's why I'm doing it. So but I don't care about the number necessarily because you know yourself. There's 3,000 people, but only like 15 or 20% are actually interested in what you do, and not necessarily the 100%. And that's normal. I mean, that's just
Sure.
how social media does thing or whatever, however it goes. Um, I don't have a greater plan with that. It's not like I'm doing to uh, do business. Like it's just pure enjoyment of sharing what I was privileged beyond anything else, and lucky to have, and like to
What
show
was the
people
name
how
of
things
your?
can look like.
Yeah, what was the name of
Uh,
the first account?
First one was Starbird and Moon,
Oh, okay.
and just in a time when I made the T-shirts for some friends, JC got one. uh, they hacked my account, and I had to start all over again because I didn't know. But if you don't put your pictures from time to time, Instagram doesn't know if this is your account, so you can't prove it.
Mm.
So big advice to anyone having an account, however much you feel uncomfortable putting your face from time to time, do it, because it can get a big issue to recover your account. And I never could. So, and I said, it's okay. And, and to be honest, maybe I changed a little bit pattern how I do things. I introduced not just cure, but the things related or things that I love in music, and I feel more comfortable. I was always like, uh, cure, 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 and I am a lot about the cure, but I have other interests that I
Yeah.
think can be, you know, shared
Yes.
to other people. It's normal. I mean, it will be weird even if it's just the cure. I'm 46 years old.
Yeah,
Older,
yeah.
actually.
JC says I'm wearing the shirt today actually,
Oh, nice.
and I say, I mean
Just say today.
that's why I'm talking to you and why I like talking to people because for me as a Cure fan, I can respect anybody who is interested in collecting things and looking at old pictures of the Cure, but I'm more interested in what the expansion of it was and like what you said earlier, like for me, my world opened up, not just with The Cure, but with music. Like music opened up my world, it opened up my heart, it made me feel like I belonged somewhere. And
Of course.
I know that that's a universal feeling to want to belong. And then there's like you can get very scientific about falling in love with music as a teenager. Actually, now they're looking at like brain chemistry as, you know, but I get a little irritated when people say it's all a nostalgia trip because it's not. But at the same time, I also get annoyed when it's like, no, I just want to see pictures of Robert Smith because I'm like, it's not just,
Yeah,
it's the
it's not.
people, it's the experiences, it's the fact that like, like I want to do two things with you. I want to nerd out on some physical stuff for the people that are watching, and then maybe
Sure.
we can get back into the stuff that I'm even more interested in, which is like, because I know you said your first concert wasn't until 2002, and then you moved
Yes.
here. But this let's do a little bit of eye candy. What are some other little gems you could show some people that are
Yeah,
watching?
this is the one I thought I never have. I mean, it's maybe not big deal for others, but it was for me for some reason.
Carl says
It's
he's here for the fire
this.
trucks.
This is Shake Dog Shake. This is French promo. France, they did very interesting ones. This one has the top on the B side, and it has the same artwork like it was done for the top album, but it's actually a small top. Um,
Wait. So
then
it's the top single with what on the B side?
it's Shake Dog Shake actually, and the top is on a B side.
Ah, okay. What's the back look like? Nothing.
Let me show you. I also keep them. I keep them separate in a separate bag because I'm trying to save the. Because when it's inside, you see, I even protect the in between. I keep the cardboard so it doesn't have ringwear.
Ringwear, yeah. Every album I sell on eBay, or I mean on Discogs, I have
But
to say has
this
slight.
is not collecting. This is OCD and other issues. Uh, this is the the back cover.
Ah, okay.
I see now that some people in Europe did bootlegs of these rare records, and they're getting sold for from 60 to $120. Um, and I understand that some things we all want to have, and it's sometimes even comforting if you get that bootleg, I guess. But I really don't recommend anyone giving money to these people because they're just making money. These are not Cure fans or Cure people. These are people who understood it. Cure is selling, and they are selling them for a big bucks, like
Right.
uh, like endless. Uh, I used to buy them at the beginning, and now I just categorically will not do that anymore. The endless concerts that are appearing on bootlegs and are on picture discs and have posters and bags and T-shirts and cost $350, and what is that? And,
Right. Right. Right.
are we here for that? I mean, if you want to give that much money, give it for something that actually has some value, or just because as you said, for me, it's music first. All this is a side effect of that. It's not. If one of these guys needs, I'm trying to point to my cat. I don't know if they're visible.
Oh, is there?
Uh,
Oh, I can't see them. There's actual real cats in there?
yeah, she's sleeping behind me here.
Oh, hello.
And the Linus, the black one, he's walking around. Yes, we hear you. And if they need a dentist or something, all this can go in a flame in a second. I don't care. It's, for now, it's something I enjoy, but it's not more important than important things.
Yeah.
Music is always here, always will be here, and that's how I see things.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the right way, but that's how I see it. This is 10:15, one of my favorite songs. I mean, my account is called 10:15 Saturday Nights. This is also French promo on 7-inch. It had accuracy on B side, and there was also a promo version of this with the Foxy Lady on the B side. And this
Right.
is the back cover. It's again one of the releases of bootlegs, and they are all in some colors. I got this one just for the sake of it, to see how it actually looks like. So this is a bootleg, as you see, same back, same this, but of course, I mean,
Oh.
when you hold it, you understand that it's not a real thing. And it looks like this.
Right. Right.
Red as it's not good. Don't buy this. I'm an idiot.
So I thought of one thing I can share that is a treasure that I don't think anybody has. Well, there are a few people who have it, but I will never sell it. Hold on a second.
Sorry.
But just for you and the collectors that are out there. You ready?
Yes.
Let's see. So first of all, it looks like this.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Things
Yeah.
that look like that hide always something.
It looks like this.
Okay.
And aha. Let's see. I don't know if you're going to be able to read this.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a
Magazine
demo.
Spice.
Yeah, so this is a demo. Magazine Spice, Gary's
beautiful.
Gone to War, Dishonor, As the Lights Go Out, Horley.
Beautiful. I never heard them, unfortunately. I was. Oh, nice, beautiful. Oh, nice. That's worth something. I mean, it's really a rare thing.
Yeah, yeah. So and it's also just so cool. Like this is how people had to send out their demos. You know, they just would mail
It's
them.
beautiful, yeah.
And I think the way that the lore goes with the Mag Spies, which well, first of all, Carl, aka the Cure Forever, says, very cool to see bits of his amazing collection. I remember when the three of us met in Maria Hernandez Park, out in the open air during the pandemic.
Oh,
He gave us, yeah. JC, I'm not gonna take $12 for it. Come on.
oh my goodness.
So, but I think the story. So the magazine Spies were Simon's first band, which were Lockjaw before that. And the interesting thing about the Cure is that once upon a time when they were all growing up in, and I do this because like Horley was here and Crawley was
I
here.
do that a lot too.
Yeah. So, but
So,
yeah, but Horley literally is here, and they were connecting shitty towns, right? So,
yeah,
even though we know the Cure is starting as Easy Cure, and Simon wasn't there, Simon was seeing Easy Cure, and Robert was seeing Lockjaw and Mag Spies, and so I think the deal with this was I think it was actually Dave Gallup, Rick Gallup, and maybe even Robert was involved in releasing.
I think he was involved in releasing on 7-inch. Actually, now when we went to England, I went downstairs to Sister Ray in Soho, and I first thing when I do to England, that's what I do. I go to Sister Ray, run downstairs, and I check 7-inch section. And the first thing in 7-inch section was 7-inch that cost like 400 pounds, but I just couldn't afford it at the moment because that was half of my budget for the vacation.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So, but I saw the first time actually. I saw the record.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention this when I was pulling out this book that I don't know how many people got to know that exists. You can see a little Cure picking here. It's Bill Smith, the guy who did the first two covers for Three Imaginary Boys and 17 Seconds.
Oh, nice.
It's his book about his covers that he did, and actually kind of introduced me to other of his work. And I have to say that I personally changed my view of that first cover. When I read the 10 Imaginary Years and everything, and I was like, why these machines? But I have to be honest that I don't know if my perception of things changed or anything, but I really started to like that album cover.
I love it.
I did my version of a lino cut print with, but I always forget that it has to be reversed, so everything is on the wrong side. But it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
That's a really cool
is
book.
Really, really interesting, and it's like I keep it with my records because it's 12-inch, like the records.
Right.
So it has 17 seconds. The same. He did all of the early singles, and yeah, he's a nice guy. I got to chat a little bit with him. He found my profile, and he was like really appreciated that I always credit him, and that's one of the things I wanted to say that's very important to me personally, and when I started if I can find who did what, or it's all there, I think we kind of should know and appreciate people who did photography, who did artwork, all. It's not just collecting, but like kind of getting the knowledge about what's going on, who's behind, who are all these people, because unfortunately nobody was credited in the 80s. It's very poor credits. You have sometimes something, but then sometimes you just can't trace who did it, who's the person who took a picture, who.
Oh, I agree with you 100%, and I would say now.
Robert was very fair. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
No.
wanted to tell you regarding Bill Smith, and he insisted of everyone being credited. And if you take the first record of the Cure, like everyone is there. Everyone who like was sitting somewhere his name is there.
Yeah.
Robert said because he wasn't sure if they will ever have a chance to do it again. That's why he did it. But I wish that bands did it like that, So when you take out the cover, you can see who did what, and respecting the people's work. It's in my opinion very important. So I try to honor that as much as I can.
What's your kitty cat's name?
This is Stevie.
Stevie. Stevie. Oh my goodness, Stevie's a little spicy.
Stevie is the talker. Uh, she loves to speak when I'm going to bed, and she comes and it's like endless. What happened during the day?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you wanted to say something, interrupted.
Oh, I was just saying that, I was late to the social media game, and I was resistant to it for many reasons, and now I'm full on. But one of the things I didn't like was how, with photos and people, everybody likes to cut out the fans again. Like as far as collecting, like I'm a memory collector, I'm a story collector. Yeah. They cut out the fans and they just have like it's just Robert's face or Simon's face, and I'm like, yo, what about the people that were there, and what about the story behind the story? Like I have a blog on my website, which I need to update, but there's a story about the first time that Trent Reznor met Robert Smith. And the reason why I wrote that story was because there's this picture of Robert Smith and Trent Reznor hugging in the dark that has been out on the internet forever, and it just got smaller and smaller and smaller. And even magazine, because magazines now, like online magazines, they share stuff from people, and I don't know if they credit them. Like nobody's crediting anybody anymore. So I felt like I wanted to say, hey, by the way, this photo of Robert Smith hugging Trent Reznor on a dance floor in a goth club at 1 a.m. in 1996 was taken by my friend Erica, who took it on a Polaroid camera or disposable camera on this crazy night, which she knew, that would never happen again. It was so wild, like all the things that happened that night, the fact that she was invited to the club, that she went there, that she saw like little nervous Trent Reznor with his baseball cap turned backwards. Yeah. and Trent Reznor even would say later, Robert wanted to meet me, and then Robert says I want to meet him or whatever. Don't quote me, don't sue me, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, because all of these little things matter. Like we matter as part of the Cure
exactly, yeah.
lore. And I mean we as a full collective of like the 79-year-old that was dancing their ass off for 3 nights in a row at MSG, and then the 12-year-old that just went for the first time in Miami. Like it all matters, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I like my friend Andy Todd, who he's also from Texas. We met the same, like on Instagram, just first speaking to each other about, and then during the COVID actually we spoke a lot, because there was I wasn't even going out for a few months. I believe I was just staying at home nonstop. Didn't see much people. He got to see the band a lot, and he got a lot of these pictures with fans, and I wish he shares more. But then again, there's another problem of, I guess, when people have these memories and they took these pictures, they like to be credited themselves, and then people often just take their material, then represent them, and then it's endless. It just goes to again, not knowing who took it, whose initial memory is this, who made this picture. I wish more of the fan stories, like the fans, that if they will bring more of their treasures, pictures, but if we will respect them and credit them, they maybe would. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would like to see more.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's nice about putting things out like a book or a movie, for fuck's sake, that I've been trying to do forever. But
Okay,
yeah, one day. But going back to like now you have this massive collection, and the last we spoke where you were in the 90s. Somewhere in between there, you saw The Cure for the first time, and you also met Pearl, which I feel like
Yeah,
an important part of
it
your
was.
story.
I mean, I wanted to get some of the Pearl's art when that was in 2017 when I, after Lowell's book, I guess I kind of more explored what's going on. And then Pearl showed up with some new work on, it was some site that kind of disappeared now, or does it exist? It was like site where you can sell art, some clothes. I, I don't remember the name, unfortunately. And Pearl opened their account and was selling pins that were handmade, hand painted. And I really wanted to have one. So I did have one and then two, and ended up having like a lot of them. But I started buying Pearl art when it was affordable to me and when I could afford it and when Seth was okay with that. Um, and Pearl noticed that, of course, because not many people were maybe that occurrent in his sale of his work. And so we started having chats on Instagram mostly. Uh, they were mostly going through um, Garland, Garland Del Rio, which actually I think it's just a synonym for her wife, Diana.
Mm.
I believe that she's behind that name now. Um, and we had the chat non-stop, and then they got introduced into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mm.
And at this point, I was really having a really nice collection. Some of it's on the very messy here. uh, some stuff is on my wall, not visible maybe from here. Let me just grab something, bring it closer.
Okay. Ooh, look at this. While he gets that, who has this book? Clinical Prescriptions. I feel like I don't even remember where I got this book, but I think it's French, half American.
So this is one of the Paul's paintings. I don't have that much painting. It's mostly prints and some other stuff. But this is one of the biggest treasures. Um, so stuff like that, and
Hi, Donna. Hi, Nick Richards. Thanks, Lisa, by the way. Let's all win the lottery. Did you guys hear about the Indians
this
who
one was done
won the
for
lottery?
my birthday in 2019.
Oh, that's nice.
It's called A Box Full of Universe. It came with, it's painted all over.
And then are
it
you...
still has original, some presents inside, and Pearl's signature.
Oh, nice. Nice. I don't think you can hear me, though, can you?
I can.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Did
you, because had you met Andy Vella too, or did I make... No, you were just in touch with him.
We never met, but we got in touch again through Instagram. But not that often. Mostly I will make him angry because I will post some something like that is based on his art, but it's not originally like bootleg, and then he will tell me, "Oh, that's unofficial." Of course, it's unofficial. But he's a very nice guy. So he exchanged a few messages with me. The same, Phil Trinelli, the same. I used to have a chance to speak to Andy Anderson send messages when he was on Facebook a long time ago now.
Yeah,
I met Lowell on his book signing. And that's it. I actually never met Robert or Simon or Perry Roger.
What was
Roger
the
once liked my post, and I was out of mind. I was like, "Oh my God, Roger!" I sent a picture of Roger like your post to everyone, like to family members who doesn't even understand what that means.
they're like, who, Mr. Rogers? That's cool.
You go, what?
What was your first Cure concert and where?
So my first one was, as you mentioned, 2003. It was in Hungary. It was a Hungarian summer festival in. It's Szeged. It means island actually, uh, and they played. Mission played before them same day, so I got to see the Mission for the first time. Um, I went there and I waited for, I believe, 6 hours, glued to the that
The rail.
rail
Yeah.
at the first row. I didn't eat anything or drink, so I don't have to move from there. I was just
I went to the
losing
hospital.
consciousness over there. Yeah. But
I-
I did see them, and I saw them from the very first row, just in front of the. If I remember well, at that time, Simon was in front of me, and Robert was very occasional in front of me. I was just there, and something happened that day, which kind of I always like to make more of it. That maybe it wasn't anything, but rain started, so everyone was holding hand like this, and I was the only one holding hand like this. And then Robert came, and he came a little bit like not on his knee, but kind of bent it down and did the same gesture like with the hand like this.
Oh,
And I
really?
was like, oh, which maybe probably doesn't mean anything, but
I
I like
don't
to
know.
think
I
that it
mean,
did.
I think that there's plenty of people. I think that
And
he may
you know,
he
it was my first show, so for me, I could make myself believe anything that day. You know,
he
I saw the
probably
Cure
saw
finally.
you. He
But I
probably.
was there. I mean, I know that he says that he doesn't see much more than like first few rows. That
I mean, that's what he used to say. I feel like
used to say,
that's old news, and I feel like it's kind of a lie. And
yeah, probably.
because I've seen so many damn Cure shows. I see what he does, and it's like so. Nick Cave does this much more obviously than Robert does, but Nick Cave searches through the crowd and looks at people, and then he can hone in on somebody, and he'll sing to you, which is
Yeah,
incredible because you're like, "Oh, but and then Nick will actually like get on people's shoulders, which is crazy. But I've seen Robert sort of, that he scans as a singer. I think,
yeah,
yeah. So maybe he saw you because it's
maybe.
nice.
I like to think so. I saw, yeah, when you mentioned Cave, yeah, I saw Cave too, and my friends gave me as a birthday present. My friend Diane and Sasha, who actually went together with me later on one of the Cure concerts in 2005. They got me tickets for Nick Cave. That's another experience you can never forget too.
Yeah, you can't. My house is actually filled with more Nick Cave than
Yeah,
Cure, but
I love
but back to the
the Cure.
Budapest concert. Well, first of all, Donna says hi, Letizia says hello, Aaron says hi.
Okay. Yeah.
Back to that. So that was a festival you said in
It was
Hungary.
a festival, so they were headlining the. I believe it was the first day of festival. I believe it was actually first day. I know that year, I don't know, Pulp played later in the. It was maybe like 7 day festival or something like that.
And you were
Iggy
saying
Pop.
it. You were saying it was raining. So tell us about that. Like, what was you're there
It
for 6 hours?
wasn't no, it wasn't serious rain. It was just kind of beginning. So the whole day was kind of gloomy, so I wasn't surprised. But luckily, it wasn't nothing serious. It just kind of, if I remember well, started to rain, but didn't rain that much. We were not like wet or something. It
Right.
was fine.
Laman Sharma. Do you know a Laman Sharma? No. Anyway, he says hello. He,
Maybe.
she, they, their, them. Says hello.
Man, I'm so bad with names in general. I mean, in social media, I can kind of, when I see the picture, and then but names as names. I mean, I had crazy stories about not knowing people's names.
Okay, so 2003, you said?
That's 2002.
2002.
And then next one was 2005 again. It was a Hungarian concert, but this time was a different place. It was uh,
It wasn't Seged?
Szeged Youth Festival or something like that. And this was the time when Pearl came back. And there were four of them. Uh, so yeah, the Roger and Perry left the band, and Pearl came back. Yeah. So this is the only time actually I saw Pearl on stage with the band. They played extremely long show. I
Oh, really?
remember, like, we were like, oh my god, we have to go home. We love you, but it's like we it's overwhelming. It's like it's. Of course, we were grateful for every minute of it, but it's one of these shows, and you just can't. It's like, they still playing.
Yeah.
I remember my friend Dan, he came to say to me something. I was like, "Don't speak to me. Like, you don't speak to me when we are in the Cure concert." So it was. I still think that maybe that's one. I don't know if I can have favorites. No, I can't have favorites. This the last ones were really good.
Well, I think what's
Um,
important to bring up also is that, and I think I may have read this in the interview, is that, or maybe we talked about it, I don't know, is because again, we talked about you being a kid and then Yugoslavia, and then it breaks up into Serbia, and then everybody in the country is broke as hell, and you're sleeping in the kitchen by the
yeah,
candlelight, or you're there, because you can only turn on
something like
electricity for 2 hours. And then it was hard to travel, not just like hard because you're broke, but even getting like a passport.
yeah. I mean, it was impossible actually to travel because Serbia was isolated. It was first um, it suffered less than other maybe at the time republics and now countries during this war because nothing happened in the territory until the bombing, but that's a different story. Um, but it was isolated. It was, it's world of politics, I guess, something I will never quite understand completely. Um, yeah, and it it was isolated. We couldn't go anywhere, even if we wanted to. You could get a passport, but you couldn't use it. I mean, I
Right.
had my passport useless for years and years before I used it first time, and only thing changed in 2010, which, if you think about it, it's not that long ago. It's only
Yeah.
13 years ago
Yeah.
when Europe opened the borders and you can travel finally. But
Uh,
then again, something happened. England didn't open its border. Everyone else
mm,
did except them.
to you,
So
to
UK, you
Serbia.
couldn't go to Serbia.
Yeah, I mean that's wild to think about. I went to the UK, in the late '80s. I mean, it wasn't easy,
Yeah,
but it wasn't a
I
problem.
went to I went to UK first time last year. That was my first time I went to UK when I got US passport and
Were you there
COVID
for
was
the
over.
Wembley shows?
No, we went actually much earlier. We went in May.
What? You
Uh,
didn't go to see The Cure?
no, you know what? Then again, it's, I guess, I work, my partner works, but I mean we can manage or our habits and passions and everything, but we really need to work for it. We don't have kids, so we are most privileged to do some stuff than people who have to struggle. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
paying for school to a kid or anything, and I understand that very well. But we we can hardly get. I can get a few days here and there off from work, but I have to be there if I want to keep my work. For him, it's the same. So, it's we don't make that much money. I mean, we don't have the jobs that bring much money. But I mean, we're okay.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
complaining, but just like facts. So I can't go that much traveling, and
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I could, but then something else would suffer, and I have these two cats that I just have more and more problem leaving and going away from them, and it's just
oh,
I
that's
was like,
so hard. It's so hard as a cat
it's
person. I had two cats that
it's.
I moved to New York with, Vincent and Monet. Big
I know
big
Vincent from the pictures, so I remember Vincent. Yeah.
Vincent, and I miss him every day, and he lived to be 20. But just to say to all the cat people, cat appreciators out there, because there's a lot of Cure fans that are big cat fans, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
That yeah, it is hard when the kitties get older because you have a lot of maintenance
Yeah.
to do. Just a really quick hello to NYC Cloud One. We said hello to Donna and Pete. And so Alex, your 46-year-old self with a house in Brooklyn, a husband, which you've been married for quite some time, right? I don't know if you want to get too
Yeah,
personal, but yeah.
we are now more than 15 years together, but we married 7 years ago. It's going to be actually,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
So, but just to say that you know your collector self, when you think about when you were in 1992, 93, 96, you must be amazed.
yeah, I mean it's a long way
Yeah.
for everything. Just it's I I I think people who are my age, older, younger, but you understand that it's how strangely life becomes big, and even for me, I mean, often people ask me here, do I wish things were different? I wish things were different so there would be no wars and you know stuff like that. But I wouldn't change my growing up, however hard it was. I wish I maybe could have gone to see The Cure, but I don't know if relationships with people and my friends and everything would be as it was. It was really good. It was we would really turn to each other because we were all in the same problem. We did enjoy everything so much. When you go to the
Mm.
concert, even if it's a local band, it was like a big deal. It was such a big deal. Just getting together for the weekends, it was a big deal. We loved each other, embraced each other. It made the relationships that lasted. I still have people around me, not physically around me, but who are present in my life that are from that time, because bonds are so strong. Unfortunately, my best friend died in all of this, but if
Mm.
she was around, I know that we'll be still, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
in
and
touch. And
I
it's just
mean,
very hard to explain why something that was so terrible, tragic, it's a war. It's not the situation you want to be in. But maybe because I was young then and I could handle all that because we were not involved. I just don't know even how to explain. I wouldn't change anything in my life. Absolutely not.
yeah.
Except the fact that some things, but these are things out of my hands. It's not
So
like
how many years of your life were in a period of war?
uh, well,
I mean, I know it's kind of
so
murky. There's like Cold
It
War and
started when I was a teenager. It lasted a long time actually. Bombing of Yugoslavia was in 1998, and I was in the army, so it hit me harder than anything else before that because I was just finishing my army was something you have to do for 1 year at that time. Now it changed.
hold on a second, commercial interruption. You said the bombing of
But
Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia.
You said
That was
1998? 1988? 98.
no 1998. Yeah.
But when did Yugoslavia break up?
So Yugoslavia actually break up, I believe, shortly after that completely, because
Oh.
it started breaking up with Slovenia getting out, Croatia getting out, but still Serbia and Montenegro and Macedonia stayed for a while were still called Yugoslavia. And when bombing was, it was actually Serbia, Montenegro, and Kosovo
Okay.
as
Okay.
Yugoslavia. But it was different Yugoslavia at that time. So it was a long process actually of completely breaking the country. Uh, Montenegro was the last one to leave that united thing. I don't know how to
Right.
call it.
Here's my
So
geography again.
that was yeah. That was rough. I mean, bombing was rough because I was grown up in the army and I was involved with uh, airplanes and everything. So that was actually my specialty. So like, it was really not fun. But again, that was done. It's all part of the past that you can't change because it wasn't up to you. We had a big issue because our family was um, my grandmother's sisters decided to marry people with different religion and different backgrounds. So we were like all over the place. When the separation began, it was very hard on our family because we had someone everywhere. Um, and it wasn't fun, but it just happened. I don't know even how to explain to people. You can't you have to move on from stuff. I thought that army and that what happened with the bombing will impact me differently, but it wasn't because I was ready to leave it behind me and to leave it in the past and just go beyond that.
Is there,
I
this is, it's a little bit of a cheesy question, but as you're
Mhm.
describing that, I was wondering if there are any certain songs that, and it doesn't even need to be The Cure, but are there any certain songs that you feel like were your strongholds or something
uh,
like?
I believe that uh, a lot of a lot of actually Cure songs uh, have evoked the memory of certain times, but then again, um, my personal strength to go through that time. So kind of, as you say, they are stronghold. Um, I think uh, high, high was one of them because it was some kind of breaking points in our lives. I remember in my family life, my mom and mine, and I wasn't even sure if I liked the song first time when I heard it because it was different to what they did before that. But then once when I liked it, I really liked it a lot, and I love that song. It's one of the songs that really gets me very excited, even if I hear it, on the TV or anywhere. Um, the Love Cats because it was the first song, and it will always be special for me. And um, I even develop all this project now with my friend Remy, who does the artworks, and I do some design for that. So we wanted to do some skateboards, and actually I could show you guys. We had the prototype of the skateboard. Yeah, and
Where are your
Lullaby because
cats?
well, she's walking around, I believe.
Ah, she's walking around. Okay. We gotta see the black one before we sign off. I don't know. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
possible?
Mine is Clark.
I don't know if anyone can see Alex's collection. He's going off to find his skateboard prototype. He's also an artist, so be sure to check out 10:15 Saturday nights. And while he's doing, oh, here he comes. Okay.
This is our Love Cat skateboard,
Oh, cool,
which
man.
had like Andy, Phil,
Oh,
and Robert as the cat
oh,
character.
that's
So
adorable.
hopefully, I'm hopeful that we will be able to do this maybe for the anniversary of the Love Cat single is now actually 4 years old in November, if I remember well.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, I went to see the house where they recorded the video for the Love Cat. So the guy was very nice. He opened the door so I could take a picture of the stairs, which are different now, but it was interesting to see the place.
Where is that?
It's one England Lane on I don't know how it's called, that part of the. It's I know. Uh,
One England Lane in
yeah,
England,
in England, in London. Yeah,
in London.
it's now I forgot how it's called. Part maybe JC, if he's around, he probably knows. He went there too.
Well,
But
Vicky is here. She says
oh, Vicky
hello,
is there.
and
Hey,
Emmanuel
Vicky.
says hello.
Hi guys. So Love Cats, I guess. Lullaby was the first song. Lullaby will always stay for me a special song because it was what got me into The Cure, I guess. Um, and I don't know. It's the whole catalog has different moments, different, but it's mostly Cure songs, and maybe some Mazzy Star songs that were special to me because I had my first serious crushes with Mazzy Star in the background and stuff like that. Yes.
That's nice. Very soft and
Yeah, Dream.
melancholic. Yeah, dreamy and.
Yeah, that's one of the bands that my friend Sasha Idano introduced me to. He played it to me, and I was like, "Wow, what is this?" I like that. I like the meeting people who, bring something new into your life that is not that is unknown to you, and it's so you, and then you're surprised, like, oh my god, how familiar this feels.
Right. How was I ever existing? That's how I think The Cure was for me, and I'm sure a lot of people like, where have you been all my life kind of
Yeah,
feeling. And a lot
yeah,
of that
exactly.
post-punk and just this whole world of weirdos. And I feel that way. I don't think I've felt that way in a long time. I've gotten that way with film, like with David Lynch and Errol Morris for a while and Werner Herzog. But there's worlds that's like,
I'm very much a David Lynch guy. I was watching recently again Twin Peaks, that new series, uh, like the third season. Oh, our sirens.
yeah, Carl, if you're
I'm
hearing.
I'm surprised that I didn't have any since we were talking. Window is open, but there were no sirens.
Well,
Mostly we have them like.
I live by a hospital and
Oh,
a firehouse, so people are always like, "Oh my God, why?" And it's like, don't worry about it, honey. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's New York. It's okay.
So,
uh,
what were you gonna say?
yeah, I too love David Lynch. He was like his aesthetic of just the stories, the way he thinks, the way he creates the movies. It was so like home in a way for me. I love
Yeah,
him. I love
and
his weirdness.
well, I mean, the way that I mean, this is like, I definitely want to expand what I'm doing to Beyond the Cure at some point. But, just briefly about David Lynch, Fire Walk with Me and Twin Peaks, I think is such a fantastic story of the American dream, the American
Yeah,
nightmare, right?
Nightmare.
It's so good. I mean, he's so good at destroying or opening up, like what really life and the trying to live the American dream can be
Exactly.
like, and it's fantastic. Um, so we should probably wrap it up relatively soon because it's
Sure.
almost been 2 hours. But I did want to ask you, you did go to see The Cure in New York recently.
Yes, first time I saw them in 2016, so this was like after I came when they played Madison Square. But at that time I went only one night because I don't know why, but it just didn't click me that I can take actually 3 nights for myself. I was just like very uh, grateful and like that I can go and see them. So I was kind of, oh, it's good one night, and but this time I was like, no, I'm going all 3 nights.
Mm.
So that was like just going. I have to still learn how to buy tickets, like to understand where the seats are,
Mm.
which I didn't quite understand. So I just, but again, I was there. It was great. So that's all that it matters for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Next time.
you got to hear 10:15.
Yeah. Yeah. I gotta hear a few surprises, and they actually really. And I have to say, and I'm repeating this again and again, but I have to say that I kind of um, made a big mistake, and I realized with this tour, with these concerts, how much I should appreciate the current lineup that I used to somehow underestimate people who are now in the band because in my head I live still somewhere in the night, so I know all line. What's the favorite lineup that just disappeared with these concerts? It's just the Cure is what it is right now, and this is the band
Good.
now, and history is history, and uh, it doesn't matter. They were perfect, just played perfect shows. So there's no more shouting that where is Boris and where is Pearl. They were where they want to be right now. So
Yeah,
the
and I mean
Cure is,
a
you know what I
band.
mean. It's the band as it is now. It's the band it should be. That's my point. We can all say this and that, but they're all great musicians. They've just been in certain times and contributed in certain ways. And
Yeah, I
of
mean,
course, you will.
I think that like I did this interview with Dave Allen, who's actually worked with The Cure in the prime time that you loved so much,
Yeah,
but he brought up, like the recording is static, but the song live, the band, the people, that's always changing, just like we are. So I think as a
yeah, of course.
fan, it's what's more interesting is to relate to the song now as the song is now, as the band is now, and how you are now. And those are three completely different things.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like. I could let go anything else in my life, but I was somehow so stubborn to think that some things were better at some points, but actually it doesn't matter. The Cure is now perfect. It was really a great show, three, and I met some great people, and really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I saw you at one of the fan meetups for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, we saw each other actually on the last one, because I was on the first one and the last one, and the second one I did something different. I didn't go for a meetup. I went with my prints because I did 10 prints for every night. Yours is still here. I have to give it to you with the cats. And I did, what I did? I went and spoke to people, which is extremely difficult to me, to people that I don't know, that I never saw. And I mostly spoke to like parents who brought their kids. Like it was just interesting to me to hear their stories because they were so young and they experienced it. And so I gave them prints. This is
Oh.
the night I probably gave least prints because I'm not so brave to approach everyone, but I did meet some people and that was nice too.
Oh, that's very
So
beautiful.
second night I was on my own, and I saw the guy who did the official poster, the Neil.
M. Leinhart. Michael, is it
Yeah,
Michael?
yeah,
Or Matthew? Leinhart.
Matthew. Yeah. So he was like 10 feet away from me, and I was like giving my praise. I was like, oh my god, I should move from here. So, and I had I bought the poster that night, and I had it, but I just didn't approach him again, me and my issues. But yeah, he did a good job. I think that, with respect to everyone else, New York had probably my favorite posters for the shows.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, this like
I like
obsession.
the Texas ones. I have to say that too. I really like the Texas ones, the first ones from Austin and maybe Dallas, or if I remember well. I like that posters.
I just want to see the whole band in one of the posters.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. That will be nice too. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
the only criticism I have of you know, I love The Cure and I always will, but this 2023 in America, it was so Robert, and
yeah, it should be about the band. Yeah,
it and it always has been. Like this interview I found from '92, and he's saying the band, and it's always we, and I just I do miss that. I know that they're in a different place in their lives, and
yeah,
you know, maybe the making of the tour posters and only him has nothing to do with anything. You know what I mean? It's like they're
yeah.
busy and whatever. But I'm hoping that one poster will
We'll have the
be,
band,
yeah,
but
the whole
maybe
band.
there's something that's coming up. Hopefully, we will have more surprises.
Like a
I
new
don't
album.
know. Yeah, well, something like that.
Well,
Something like that.
so
Yeah.
what's before we end, what's the future in as far as like collecting or where can people find
I'm
you and all that?
I'm slowing down a little bit in my. I mean, there's a lot. I'm focusing now mostly on vinyl. Um, the that I'm maybe still interested to have see, and I don't know. I'm more now about the music than ever. I believe I just enjoy listening to new, and I'm finally getting into new music, and trying to spend a little bit less time with my phone. That's I found so important for myself. Uh, but I'll be around. I'll show what I think is interesting to people. I'm trying to find some new things and get them over there. I have part of my collection. I posted yesterday that Blue Sunshine DVD. That actually was the name. Like things that inspired the Cure to do. I was always curious. What books? What movies? What? So I'm infiltrating that part of the collection too. And I think it's just we have to expand our knowledge. At least if you like something, know more about it. Yeah, I guess that's the point. I believe that's the point.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Hopeful that there will be a new album. The songs we heard are beautiful, and I mean um, I can never say goodbye. It's just I first night I was like very excited to hearing it for the first time. Second night I was kind of learning the song, and the third night I was just bawling all through the song. So
Great.
I think that they made really beautiful songs. I just hope
Yeah.
that we will hear the studio versions of these songs finally, which will be very nice and refreshing after a long time.
Yes. Well, thank you so much,
Of course.
Alex. It's been super fun. If anyone wants to look and see what Alexander is up to, you go to what 10:15 Saturday nights on Instagram.
10-15 Saturday nights, yeah.
And then your skateboard art will be there too?
Yeah, we have, it's called Love Cats US, Love Cats, and then the dash, it's called, underscore US. There's a like special page to that where is some of my artwork, if anybody's interested. But I will kind of let people know through some posts that I'm planning soon regarding that project, so they will know what's going on there too. So,
Great. Great. And then I just want to give a big shout out to everybody who came and joined us today from all around the world. Thank you so, so much. It means so much to me. I love seeing posts from all over the world. That's one thing I love about. That's the good thing about social media and being able to stream this way is that we can reach people from wherever they are and, time of day. I'm going to be doing more and more interviews. So if there's anything that anybody wants to suggest, I'm always open. You can comment here. You can text me or email me on all the things. Instagram is probably the thing I look at the most. I also am trying to be a broke-ass creative, trying to make a little bit of a living. So I will say that I have started a Patreon page, which I hate plugging because I hate money. I wish that I didn't have to say that, but you can follow me and not pay money. But I'm going to thank my Patreons, which are patrons: Leah, Allison, Jeff Love, Jennifer Turner, Donna Spears, Kate Curethreads, Dana Dale, Cindy Gamble, Jody Wilson, and all the followers that are there, and everybody that was here today. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to bring Linus to say hello.
Oh yes, bring the cats. Bring the love cats.
If I catch him, because sometimes when he knows that I wanna.
I'm not going to put any Cure music in here so it doesn't get blocked by the YouTube robots. Jay Zach. Hi, Jay. Thank you, and Alexander. Enjoyed this very... Oh, look at the Kiki.
There's Linus.
Hi, Linus.
He's the biggest cobbler of all of them. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was super fun, wasn't it?
Yes.
All right, everybody, have a great day.
Timing, but I felt like it was just 5 minutes. Yeah.
I know, it's been 2 hours. That's what I mean with Cure fans. Like, we could talk all day. Be good to each other out there. Peace, and we'll see